So I've had a couple more shipments arrive for parts for the Omega MSX. I've already opened these and inspected them, but I thought I'd kind of show you the parts that have arrived. You can start to get an idea of the scope of this project. Trimmer capacitors, 5 to 30 picofarads. Logic device, 74 HCT540. This is the IC supervisor chip, the ADM691AA and Z. It's essentially a PS2 connector, but I think this is used for S-Video on the system. The relay, not sure what the relay is used for, maybe a cassette. Some resistor networks, and some 68 microhenry inductors. So those arrived in a small box. I've also ended up with parts on back order, even though I tried to be careful to make sure there was inventory. There was a couple of days between me building up the order list and actually committing to it. And either I missed that some stuff was on back order, or their inventory ran out while I left that PO open. I've got some sockets here that I just needed to replenish. Sockets I was getting low on. These are 14 pin. I just added a rail of 14 pin, but I've actually burned through them really quick on other projects. And I believe these are 32 pin. Yeah, they are. So get them out of the bags here just as I can. I needed a couple. I definitely didn't have any 32 pins when I looked. If I was out or I just didn't find them. And I think it's, how many pieces? 20? I don't remember. But again, I tend to buy extras on things I know I'll reuse. And let's jump into the big bag here, and we'll see what all we've got. So it's a lot of stuff. These are 14-pin Centronics I/O connector that's on the back of the machine. Logic, the exact capacitors he called for. I believe this is more logic. Yep. There was a lot of HCT logic. A connector, I may have had one of these already, but I just left it in the bomb. Logic, the 5-volt power connector, coin cell battery holder, although I've already got one that'll work. I think that's the audio connector. 50 volt, 33 picofarad ceramic caps. On all of these, I just bump the quantity up to 10. They're inexpensive, and I'll have spares, stuff to add back to inventory. The 2 card edge connectors. These are the 9-pin D sub connectors for, I believe, joysticks. More of the capacitors he specified. I went ahead and ordered caps rather than try to find ones in my inventory, because the lead spacing will be correct. They'll be down flush on the board, etc. So in this case, it was just better to go with the caps that were spec'd in the bomb. Yep, more logic. A single cap. I'm not sure why I didn't bump the quantity on that up, but I didn't. Some little ceramic multi-layer, 50 volt, 4.7 picofarad. I've got some, but I went ahead and went with the higher quality ones I had in spec. I think that's the actual processor. Yeah, 10 megahertz CMOS Z80. More logic, more logic, more logic. No, this is actually, well, this is actually a 2.7 to 5.5 volt, 55 nanosecond SRAM for the system, so it's not strictly logic, but it is part of the digital side. 512K times 8, microchip NOR flash is apparently used someplace in the system. These are the GALs, and they're 16 V8s, and although I've got some here, I just went ahead and ordered fresh. These are electrically erasable rather than reuse. I've got a small stock of them. More logic. More logic. logic. I think both of those bags were logic. With some resistor values I didn't have. These are 180 ohm. I didn't have any in the stock. Again, I bumped it up to 10, just so there'll be a few. One of the crystals. Another bag of resistor values I didn't have. I know I've got 75 ohm someplace, but I couldn't find them, so I just went ahead and ordered them. 5.6 microhenry inductors. There's a note someplace about two of the inductors are actually 56 microhenry, I think. So those may not be used, or it may have been the other way around. Resistor networks, 4.7K. I actually needed a bunch for another project, so I bumped that order up. The PTC, the resettable fuse. Resistor networks again, 470 ohm 6-pin. I didn't have any 6-pin. 6-pin, 4.7K ohms. Again, I didn't have any 6 pins of those either, which was surprising. Another crystal, it's like a watch crystal with the RTC, I would assume. Circular DIN connector, this is that large, I think this is the large one on the back for the RGB video out. More caps, 330 picofarad, and again I have those, but they are the cheap circular ones in the kind of yellow-oranges package, and I just went ahead and got the ones he spec'd. 1500 picofarad, 0.022 microfarad, 47 picofarad, that seems like a duplicate. Oh, those others are 4.7 actually. These are the two box headers for the ribbon cable that goes between the keyboard and the CPU board. Logic. Sound like chips. Logic. Sounds like chips again. Yep, logic. So it's a 5 megahertz operational amp. I'm not sure what it's used for in the system, but it needed that part. The bipolar transistors, I think I ordered the 2 that it called for, and then as I read further, we actually only use 1. It depends on which video chip you use. Is it 5538 and 5578 or something? Video connector, which is why it's yellow. Yep, more caps. 68 picofarad. More electrolytics again. Like I said before, I went with the ones that he had called for, so they'll fit well on the board. Yep, more crystal. 21.477 megahertz. A connector for something. That empty the bag out. That empties the bag out. And keep in mind, this is not the complete set of stuff. We've already looked at 2 other boxes, and I have stuff coming. So if you're going to dive into this project and order yourself, just set your expectations accordingly. There's a lot of stuff to sort through and get in the right places, which is fine. It's time commitment and organization commitment. I've created custom assembly bombs. Kind of took the ones out of the text files for the project and reformatted them slightly and cleaned them up so I could print them, and that'll help guide this. I will probably actually sort this off camera into common component types and get them in individual bags. It's just kind of easier to deal with that way. But there's order 2, or actually box 4 of what's arrived. There's still stuff coming from China, from eBay, and there are some back order stuff as well. So there's what they call the leveling kit for the keyboard. Under a space bar, there's that wire. So if you push on one end of the space bar, the other end moves up and down with it. That's a leveling kit. They didn't have the leveling kit for, I'm guessing, the return key. There was 2 leveling kits required, and they were different. And I'm just not sure. There's the leveling kit here that goes into these holes here for the space bar, and I'm guessing these holes right here perhaps are for the leveling kit for the return key. I'm guessing that's what it's for. There might have even actually been a couple of these. One for the, it looks like there's one for the backspace as well. 2 leveling kits there because they're larger keys. And like I say, the leveling kit lets you hit the key any place along its, the space bar is going to be about that wide on here. And you want to be able to hit the space bar anywhere and have it move up and down together. And that's done by a little wire link inside. So if I push on this side, the wire link pulls the other side down. That's what's called a leveling kit if you see it in the BOM. I'm going to do the keyboard first just to get started, and it's by far the simplest piece of this. Keycaps are still coming, but I'm excited to get this started. These boards are just gorgeous. I've never done the blue silkscreen or the blue solder mask with the white silkscreen before, and I really like the way this looks, and I may start using this as my color scheme going forward rather than just the standard green. There was no upcharge for the blue on PCBWay. Really makes the silkscreen pop. It makes it really easy to see. Of course, it's a darker background than a normal green background, even though the silkscreen's fine on here. Just really makes it pop, and that makes me happy. When we looked at the key switches, there was a little container of them if you watched the video, and then a single key switch on its own, and I've identified that in the BOM. I don't yet know where it goes. I want to say it was switch 43, or maybe it was 63. I don't remember. It has a different pressure. These are really nice numeric order overall. He's done a really nice job with the layout of this. May have been the select one right here. I don't remember 43, 60. Anyhow, the updated or the modified build paperwork, I didn't bring it upstairs with me. It kind of breaks this out a little cleaner so I can follow along, use it as a checklist. I've got those prepared. And I think the next step is I'm going to dive in and start assembling this board. The other kind of challenge I've got here is I mixed in the orders. There was a separate BOM at Mouser for the keyboard, and then a separate BOM available up there. So that the BOMs are available. You go to the BOM that they've pre-created for you, and then you can clone it into your particular order. And I mixed between those because there was commonality, and I was splitting the order between DigiKey and Mouser. And so my bags aren't completely keyboard and completely CPU board, which is fine. I've just got to sort the components out. This is going to be a really fun build here. That's just such a gorgeous board. I know I keep saying it. Sergey, I really appreciate the stuff you do. You design beautiful stuff. Everything I've ever built from you has just been an awesome experience to build and play with. It's much appreciated what you do out there. The quality, the design, just the whole 9 yards. Attention to detail, the rounded corners on the boards. Just there's little detail things I look at and go, Sergey loves doing this stuff. It's just obvious in what he does. Beautiful, beautiful board, beautiful layout. It's clean. Like I mentioned before, I do have some of the parts in my personal stock, like the 82 C55. I'm going to use I've got two AY3 8910s, so I'll be using those instead of the YM2149. You can use either one in there. Found a website that talked about they sound a little bit different. The AY3 8910's got a little higher volume, but you could use either chip. I found sockets for this high density dip package here. That's where the video chip goes. And I've got those ordered, and again, I think those are coming out of China, so they may take a while to get here. They may come really quick. It's just hit and miss when I do eBay orders out of China. Don't know. Really pleased here. We've looked at parts. We've already looked at these boards, and here I am just kind of oogling them again. Anyhow, I'll wrap this short video up. Oh, excuse me. And we'll dive into a soldering video next. Talk to you later.